I had an uncle who had gone to the Naval Academy, and then remember I grew up during World War II, so I was involved in the age of 12 to 16 or 17, was involved in doing things to support the troops overseas. You were getting cans, you were getting glass, you were picking up whatever people needed, and so that was what we were doing in St. Mary's, Pennsylvania for the troops. There are a lot of people, who lived right on the same street next door and stuff like that I knew were overseas, that we were praying for all the time. I graduated in 1951 from West Point and knew that I was going to Korea as soon as I could. It was within about, I would say, 3 or 4 months. You had a little vacation, went down to Fort Benning to learn what a rifle was, to learn about some of the basic stuff, and then you were off. I was happy to go. I was looking forward to it. I joined the Army to go do whatever was going on, and I knew that I had not had experience in World War II, except all the things you do to support the soldiers overseas and all that you do around the community. But it was an opportunity to be involved and get over and see what I thought about combat, how I was able to operate in combat, and how troops operated in combat. I was stationed right along with the 40th Division, which was the National Guard Division, and so I was stationed right along the line between us and the North Koreans. So I was in one of those foxholes or bunkers or whatever we had at that time, in that area. I'd never been overseas before, so one, it was different. Two, getting shot at is different than anything else that's ever happened to you, because when you're up there and you're on the offensive, or even if you're in your bunkers and they're shooting mortars at you, they're coming down on top of you, so I'd never really had anybody shooting at me before. Those are the kind of things, then you learn how to live with that. You learn, first of all, it scares the dickens out of you, and then after a while you realize, well, I got by that one, so God willing, I'll get by the next one. I was a platoon leader, company commander, and at one time I was a battalion S2, a battalion S3, and a battalion S2 and a battalion S3, and that was right when the war ended, and I was to be promoted. Those are majors' job, and I was a lieutenant, and I was to be promoted to captain, and in 8 days I would have been a captain. The war ended, and I was a lieutenant. So I went back after having all this, what I consider to be high responsibility in the battalion and running stuff like that. I went back to Fort Benning, and I was a platoon leader again. The main story was the times that I would have to take small units out into the area between the North Koreans and us. And so I'd be going out there, and one time we got into a pretty good battle with them, and we managed to get out without them getting killed. That was the closest I came. Lots of times you got attacked with mortars, and you got attacked with artillery and stuff like that, but you're usually in your trenches or foxholes or something like that. But it was on patrols when you were going out to find something. Those are the most dangerous times, and the most times you felt most possible you're going to not go back. I would two patrols I was out on. One we had 2 or 3 people wounded, and another one we had one of my very closest soldiers that I knew very well was killed on it. So yes, absolutely. I was very, very lucky. I came from a very small town, went to the military academy. I had an uncle who had gone to the Naval Academy, so I went to the military, decided I'd take a chance and do something like that. I went to the military academy, and when I got off, I was sent off to war. And that probably was the best thing that happened to me, because it taught me what the Army is for. I mean, it's really not just to come over here and march, and show people how well we can march and do all those kind of things. It's to be there in case somebody decides that our country or our friends or someone else needs to be defended. And so it explained to me in my heart now, this is what the Army's for. So it gave me a goal for the rest of my life to see if I could help while I was in the Army to develop an Army that would be able to respond to the kind of threats that we might face in the future. Well, I'll tell you how it affected my life. One, since I had decided to stay in the Army, it made me realize that I had to help develop an Army that could permit people to go off to war and have a chance to come home.